Hello, we are live. I'm Elke.
And I'm Jen.
And the two of us work on Zazzle as designers with creating designs on Zazzle that give us income online using our creativity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that we work for Zazzle, it's that we actually use Zazzle as our way to sell our designs. And the way we do that is we license our designs to Zazzle, but in a fun way. We don't need an agent or anything. We just open up a store for free and we put our designs up, and then if they sell, Zazzle pays us a royalty.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds so simple, and yet not very many people can be that successful at it. Whereas Jen and I together, we've made over $1.5 million doing that. And I just it's like, yeah, I know, I still can't believe it, but it's true. It's happened. It's awesome. It continues to make money for us. And because of that, we have also been asked to teach others. And we started that journey about 2.5 years ago, created some courses. Now we have courses and memberships and coaching programs and so on to help you depending on what level you are at in Zazzle and how far you want to take it. Because we have students who are making a couple of dollars and they've just hit what's called bronze level or pro designer, which is awesome. It means that they've made up to about $1,000 on Zazzle for the bronze. And then others are in the silver, which is like $25,000. And others make quite a bit of money, sometimes $5,000 to $10,000 a month. And those people are really happy to get our inner circle and one-on-one coaching that we can help them with to keep moving forward, because Zazzle's a great opportunity, and you can use that opportunity to go as far as you need or want on Zazzle. And depending on where you are and where you want to go, we've now built out an entire spectrum of things that you can use to learn from us, which is awesome because we can help people at all levels, because we've been there, we've done that. We've been struggling when we could hardly earn even $90 to get a payout in our first year, to realizing what it is that we needed to do through lots of failure and time wasted. And now the students that we have don't have to waste that time. They can just use our 5 strategies to make sure that they just start on the right track and get the roadmap that they need in order for them to just move forward fast. And that's been proven over the last 2.5 years, because our students some of them, not all of them, are doing really, really well. But the ones that are doing really, really well are following the 5 strategies and implementing them, which is awesome. And so we are here. Usually we announce these things, but we kind of got distracted a little bit on the weekend because it was the 4th of July and it was July 1st, which is Canada Day for us. So we're coming in here impromptu. Thank you so much for joining us if you just had some time right now. But what we want to do is finish off our series.
Yeah.
We're having issues with our internet.
No, I just want to make sure everything's all good.
Because we could do this too. But anyway, the main thing is that we don't lose touch with we don't, because that kicked us out the last time.
Yeah, so let us know in the chat if the quality is good, and we're going to try and work out the internet. But I just want to make sure that everybody can see us very well, because we want to obviously have good quality video. And in the meantime, just say hi. We've got some people, we're streaming live to YouTube and also to our free Facebook group, which is the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur. And if you are watching with us, then we'd love to see who's on with us and say hi and where you're from if you feel comfortable. And we're going to have a really great discussion on the importance of analyzing your Zazzle sales for profitability. And it's going to be a really great session. We have always, every time that we go on live, no matter what the topic or how long we stay on, people always have amazing aha moments, whether it be from something big or something small. Everybody is always learning something in these sessions, and it's really great to have you interact with us. So if you're active in the chat, you're going to get so much more out of this session than if you stay quiet and just kind of hang out in the background.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, we started out with, we have 3 pillars that we use to, first of all, identify particular business to see whether it's worthwhile, because we're always looking out for the perfect business model. And that is based on our 3 pillars, which are perceivable, passive, profitable. And so first of all, we kind of look at a business opportunity and see, does it fit those 3 pillars? And if it does, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to go all in. But the cool part about our business framework is that it also applies to how you work in your business and how you apply these pillars to your business to make sure that they actually produce, right? And that you have a business that you're happy with and that makes you the money and make it the hours and the dollars that get exchanged, and what it is that's going to make it believable and enjoyable for you, which is the perceivable part, to make sure that you have to, because this is not like short term. This is not 1 month's work and you get $1 million. We've been at this for almost 13 years. And the cool thing about it is that it's consistently given us a nice income, which is where we wanted it to be, right? We didn't say we needed $1 million a year, but we did want to have 6 figures every year. And that's what we aimed for. And that's what we got. If we wanted to build it up higher, we could, but we don't want to, because we think it's more important to enjoy life and to do the things that are more important that money can give you, rather than to just keep chasing the dollar. So with regards to the business framework, perceivable is the first, passive is the second, and profitable is the third. And if you check out our other training in the series of panel discussions, you'll know that the first one was all about perceivable, right? It was goal setting. And in that goal setting, we started with that as a topic, but perceivable means much more than that. It means all kinds of things. It means, do you believe that this is going to work for you? Do you believe that it's something that's going to be sustainable and long-term and consistent for you? Do you believe that you're going to be happy doing it? So these are all the things that make it, and do you believe it's going to work, right? So those are all the things that are involved in perceivable. But then we moved into the product suite training, which was part of passive, because, excuse me, because our goal is to make sure that the products that we're making on Zazzle work for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Too excited. So basically you want a passive, even though you have to work, obviously you can't get something for nothing, but you want to work very strategically, smarter than harder. Excuse me. What's happening?
Take your time.
Start, keep going.
Well, you want to work smarter and not harder, and you also want to make sure that the actions that you're taking, or the research, or anything that you're implementing in your Zazzle business is something that you're going to benefit from in the future. And a lot of our students who first come to us, or even us who myself and my mother, Elke, when we first started out on Zazzle and we were making business decisions, first of all, we didn't realize that we were actually making a business decision. We were making decisions based on just having sort of a fun hobby that we wanted to see if something worked, or we were just making decisions on the fly. And that's a really great way to work if you are just wanting to have fun and, not really strategically plan things. Sometimes you make decisions or business decisions without actually having a huge plan backing behind it. For example, like even myself today and Elke, we sometimes start working on Zazzle and we're just playing around or we're having fun. And they're sort of like happy accidents, which I like to say, which we don't actually plan. And that's perfectly fine, because those are still things that have to happen in your business. You have to have fun and enjoy what you're doing. There has to be joy. But at the same time, you really have to make sure that what you are doing is being effective for you, because you can have a lot of fun and do a lot of things and put in a lot of work, but are you really working smarter? You might be working harder, you might be putting in a lot more hours, but you might not be seeing the results. And I know that a lot of you have had this concern, or you've actually experienced it, because I've personally experienced it too, where you just feel like you're struggling, or you're putting in 1 million hours a day and you're posting a lot of products, or you're trying to do all of the designs and do all the matching products, or do all of the whatever you think that you that's going to sell. and all of a sudden you're not seeing the results, or a couple weeks go by and you're still not seeing any results, or you're not getting anything out of your efforts. When you first start your Zazzle business, this is normal. You're going to have a lot of products maybe and not so many results or sales. You're just having to, your products have to be found in the marketplace, and people actually have to want to buy your products. But there's a certain aspect of actually taking strategic action steps and analyzing your business decisions so that when you take action in the future, you're not just wasting your time. And because you don't see the results right away doesn't mean it's not working. It's just that things are getting put into place. So the reason why it's so important to analyze your data and analyze every single action step that you're taking because you need to make sure that it's working for you as a business as a whole, right? And it's perfectly fine to have fun and design and spend hours designing if that's what you want to do, but you have to make sure that it's working for you and that you put it into your whole business plan. And you have to make sure that you have to make sure that the action steps that you're taking are going to be effective for you. And that is why we've, first of all, created this free Facebook group, and we created the YouTube account so that we can give you our free information that we want to give you to help you move your business forward. Because all of our live videos that we do, or our trainings, they are for a specific purpose. We are pushing you forward to be more accountable. We're pushing you forward to work smarter, not harder. We're teaching you how to learn about treating your Zazzle store as a business rather than a hobby, and actually really understanding that this thing that you call your Zazzle store is something that is going to be with you for a long time going into the future. You're building a business here. You're building something that will help you be financially free, have time freedom, location freedom, and then creative freedom as well if you put the work into it. And when we say put the work into it and work smarter rather than harder, it doesn't mean that you aren't able to work or that it doesn't take a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of smart work to build up your Zazzle business properly. But when you work smarter, a lot of the things that you're doing will get you faster results than if you were to either do it on your own or do it without knowing anything. And that works for anything in life. It's not just about your Zazzle business, but if you wanted to become a ballerina, or if you wanted to learn how to paint properly, or if you wanted to invest in the stock market, etc. Whatever it is, on whatever level of life, things take work and things take time and things take a better understanding of how to implement them properly. And you're going to do your research. You're not going to buy a house without understanding what goes into, getting a mortgage or having to pay taxes or whatever. You're going to have to understand the whole scope of things first. And I think where I know that a lot of the ladies and men who are online right now are students, but I think a lot of Zazzle designers, when you first start out and you don't really understand or think of Zazzle as an actual, a possibility that would be able to change your life in the future, you don't actually you don't even think at that level. So you have to sort of make the switch and to think, hey, this can be something. This can replace my 9 to 5. Yeah. If I put in the work, then this can happen for me. Because a lot of the decisions that we make at the lower level or at the beginning, and sometimes even after being on Zazzle for years, is that we just don't ever really understand the full possibility. So we're not making the correct business decisions at that point in time.
And it's not like we don't want to be successful. Yeah. It's just that this is something new, right? Like, unless you've run a company before, you wouldn't know. And this is a company. It's not just a Zazzle account, which is the thing that's become the most important message that we give our students. And as soon as they really move into that mind frame, or mindset, then things start to happen, because then just everything changes. How you behave, how you make decisions, what kind of time and effort you put into it, what kind of things you do in that time and effort that are very strategic. So it's really fun to see that transition. Yeah. So yeah, but today's session is all, and you started that already, right? Is all about analysis. Yeah.
Well, that's why I sort of spoke about thinking and acting like your Zazzle business or Zazzle store as a business, because what the big part of doing that is realizing to see if your efforts are working for you, right? Yes. And so that's where the analysis comes in, that you have to look at the whole picture.
Yeah, and that's why that's the third pillar, is profitable, right? Because you can be working darn hard. And that's what we get a lot in terms of students coming up, or people that are about to be our students coming up and saying, I've made so many products, I've worked really hard, I've been on this for years, and it's not working. And unfortunately, that means that you're just the actions that you're taking are not giving you the results you want. It doesn't mean it's not working. It's working perfectly fine in the way that the actions are that you're taking. So what we want to do is make it profitable so that when you look at the number of hours you spend on it, you're actually making enough money to say, hey, this is more than minimum wage, or even at minimum wage, to like, that's a return for what you're putting in, right? And that's why people say it's not working, because what they really mean is it's not getting me the results I want in order for me to quit my day job, or make me feel like this is enough money that I'm making to justify the hours I'm putting in, right? And so that's why it's so important to have that last pillar, because it doesn't, like, even if you were running a business and you were getting a loan from the bank at one point would tell you, sorry, we're not going to either give you the loan for the money or the business because it's not profitable, or it's not going anywhere, so let's shut this down because you're just burning money and putting effort in, because your time is money, right? You've heard that saying before. We want you to use your time effectively, because money is a tool. Money is what you're going to use to get what you really want out of your dream life. And it's such a corny thing to say dream life, but on the other hand, it's true, because especially with COVID now and everything else that's going on, people are having time to reflect and ask themselves, really, what's more important? Is it making the money, or is it the experiences that money gives you, like in terms of, and I'm not talking about like going on great trips. That's cool, but that's not the most important thing, right? It's having the time to be there with your family, or to have a space or a house or like something where you can be feeling safe and comfortable, and then something that you have for your retirement so that you feel like there's some power that you have over your future. Things like that, which are the real reasons why you're doing this extra work to make money on Zazzle in the first place. And so, of course, when you then say it doesn't work, there's so much emotion that's with that, because those things that you want to do with that money are very powerful. And so sometimes what has to happen is recognize those, because that's your reward, and your reason for doing this. But then you have to step back and be on the business side of things and go, well, but this current business model is not working for me. Like, it doesn't mean that Zazzle doesn't work. It's that what your actions are on Zazzle are not working for you right now to get you the results you want. And so when you start to analyze it, then you start to bring it back to a business perspective, not an emotional perspective, so that you can really just separate those two. Because on an emotional level, you're doing, like we all do it, right? We put ourselves down. We tell ourselves we're not good enough. We can't compete. We're not good at business. All of these things. There's too much competition. You name it. We go down that whole rabbit hole and say, that's probably what the reason is, and I just don't deserve that life anyway, right? So, and if any speck of that resonates with you, because we've been there, we've done that, then you have to realize that is a very honest, pure emotion that you will have associated with the whole Zazzle business, because that's what you want. You want that Zazzle business to be the one where you actually make money being creative, which is what you really love, and you don't like doing the other thing because that's not your game and that's not your jam, right? And then the reasons that you want to have that extra income are those powerful reasons. Be with my family, do things that I love, so I can finally live my life the way I think I should be living it. All of those are so, so powerful. And unless you separate them, and I know I've said this twice, I'm not repeating myself, it's that you can hear it, because you have to really give yourself a lot of grace and say, listen, it's not It's not that this doesn't work. It's that I am choosing actions that may not be getting me where I want to go. And those are not, there's no fault in that, right? It's because you don't know. You don't know yet, because otherwise you'd be doing really well. And so how do you get to know? And so one of the ways is to, first of all, analyze what's happening. And then after that, you can start to say, well, how can I change that or get this to work or whatever? And so that's the process we want to take you on today and get you just thinking that in that realm. And because you've realized that it's just actions you've taken, it's not your fault. It's not because you can't do it or whatever. It's that you just don't have the right knowledge or the right actions. You can do stuff. You've made products on Zazzle, or you're about to make products on Zazzle. Then you can make different products on Zazzle that are more tailored to the audience that you, or the customers that you want to sell to, right? And you've definitely got the motivation and energy and time commitment because you've done maybe a lot of work and you've made a lot of products already. So there's nothing wrong. Like, you've got all the goods. You just need to pivot a little bit so that you are taking more advantage of what's already happening that's really good, and stop doing what's not so good for you. And the only way you can do that is by analyzing. Mm-hmm. So give us some examples of what you think analyzing means, and then we'll go from there.
I just wanted to confirm, is 4:30 okay for what we were speaking about before? Just want to make sure that we've got time to cover everything that we want to talk about in here until 4:30.
4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sure. Yeah, we won't go till past 4:30. We want to honor people's times.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually already 21 minutes in, but this introduction is part of it. You should really feel like you can relate at this point, because we didn't just like show up yesterday and make $1 million and then now we're trying to sell a course. No. We have been through this. It's taken us 13 years. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is, but something that's very beautiful and has been our income sources for the last 13 years. And it's still our income sources. So we do get a little bit protective when people ask us about what's our stuff, because we're still selling, right? And there's a lot of people out there that just think, oh, well, we'll just copy Jen and Elke's thing and we'll make $1 million too. No, because that's not going to work either, because that's just going to grab a bit of cash short term, right? It's not, and it's going to harm someone else. And we are in the process, we're always teaching from grace, kindness, on authenticity, and equality, which means that we recognize your innate talents, and we recognize that you are worthy of showing up in this world with your own talents, right? You don't have to borrow someone else's in order to be worthy of receiving money. And so this is really, really important to us, and everyone's equal here. I love that about Zazzle. On Zazzle, it doesn't matter who you are, where you've come from, what your training is. I have like a background in science. I taught myself how to be creative. I taught myself business. You have the same brain. You are just as smart. And what you're doing here is, if you listen to what we talk about here, that's great. If you want even more information and you want to like journey with us and get some like paid help, then even better, because that speeds things up. But the main thing is that you've got the goods, and I keep saying that. But you also know that this is now possible because we've done it. Our students have done it. We have students who have such varied backgrounds, and then when they come to the course, they just do the course and they follow the step-by-step stuff, and then they start making money, and it's awesome. No income claim statements can be made, so please be very clear that you have to do the work. It's all up to you. Mm-hmm. But those who have done that are seeing quite a lot of progress, and I love that about everybody. Yeah. Oh, she says, Border Collie gifts. Yes, I'm copying your tactics, but not your products. Awesome. Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what we're talking about, because every single person needs to learn the tactics for themselves so they can bring what they have to offer to the world, which is awesome. And that's what we're here to teach. So analyzing, no one said anything about what it is that they should be analyzing. So let's start. Let's start because we need to get to that topic. First of all, sales, right? Pretty obvious when you have to analyze your sales. And, you know, for some people, they go, well, I don't have any sales. And I was like, well, then that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't, you know, you have to just stop. In our group, I say that's not an excuse because there's other things, right? What about views? And if you don't know how to find the views, it's very easy. You just go to your back end when you're logged into Zazzle. And instead of going to your homepage, you go to the tab that says products. And when you see the products page, you might actually have a lot of these statistics turned off and you don't even know they're there. But if you go to your backend where it says products tab, you've got all your products listed, right? And then underneath there, there's usually some stuff that you can look at. And if you just, you know, just before the list, there's like a little tiny bar across the top. And then there's a little tiny green arrow, and it's pointing to a word that's called statistics. And if you haven't discovered that yet, when you click on that little green arrow, and it's a drop-down menu. And in that drop-down menu, then there's a ton of options that you can check off. And so that each of those items and information will be underneath each one of your products. So if you haven't already found that, please go and do that at some point, not right now, but like when you're doing this on your own afterwards. And the fun thing is that gives you views, and that gives you last time that something was sold. So you don't always have to go, first of all, to your earnings sheet, especially if you have a lot of earnings, but also because that's like for a lot of figures and math and it's hard to see. But especially if you're visual like I am, it's really easy just to go into that product page and get some glimpses of things, because then you can do some sorts and you can ask some questions like what's sold in the last 7 days, what's sold in the last 30 days, what's sold all time, what's the thing that's got the most views, and all of these things just all of a sudden appear on your product page as a sort, and you can start to understand what's happening with the inventory that you have, right? I made the analogy in the second session that we did like this, where I said they're all your workers. Every single product is a worker. You're the boss. And if that worker isn't performing, getting views or sales, then there's a problem. And if you were running a business and that worker wasn't performing for you, you'd have a performance review. And at that point, you would discuss what's going on, how come they're not making sales, what can they do that they could do better, or is there something that boss has to provide in order for them to perform better? And so that's what you're going to be doing with each of your products. You're going to be doing a performance review. And sure, if you have like a 5,000 products, don't do it on all 5,000. But if you have a couple of hundred, go through them, check out what's going on, especially the ones that have just recently been viewed but haven't had any sales. And it's all there for you. Like if you say what's been viewed and then you sort it from top to the least number of views, then they come out in a list. You see what the number of views are. And then the next thing that you see is when was the last time it sold? 7 days ago, 30 days ago, last date it sold, how much it sold all time. These are fabulous, fabulous results and statistics that you can use to very easily know whether or not your product's performing or your staff is performing for you, right? Your employee. And so then you can go into a couple of things that you can do about that. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to keep going?
Keep going. I was like, yeah, keep going. Or you needed a break.
I'm just like, don't want to just overtake the whole thing.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to, I'm monitoring the comments on YouTube and on Facebook on both, but
okay,
I think everybody's really resonating with the idea that you are saying that your products are your workers. And it's quite funny to see like them with little feet and walking around doing things. But
yeah, get back over on Pinterest and make sure you're giving everybody a good view so you can send them back to Zazzle to buy.
Yeah. And I think you just have to really work it out and see which products are working for you and which are not. And I think Angel just asked a question. She says, is it strange when a product has a lot of views but no sales? And this is the exact question that you want to ask yourself on, not just with if it has a lot of views and no sales, but a lot of different questions like that one about each product. Because
which is awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome. Because if you have a product that you think is or should be selling, or it has a really great design concept and there's something that just doesn't click or it's not working, or you see some sort of weird data like this where it has a lot of views or sales,
but tell us the number, Angel, because there's actually variations depending on what number it is as well.
It might be a lot of different things, and this is where I like to say that your sleuthing cap comes on, because you have to figure out what is going on. There's always a story there's always a story because of your results. So where are the views coming from? Why are there so many views? Is it popular? Did somebody pin it? Is it on the homepage of Zazzle? Is it just a really popular product within that specific niche and people are starting to search for that topic right now? Is it seasonal? Is it evergreen? There's so many other things that go in behind what the story of one particular product is. And because we're not selling this we're not selling this product in a physical store, we can't see the traffic that comes in and out of our store. There are so many people who are on our product pages or on our stores, and we don't actually know who they are because we're on virtual, right? And so we have to try and figure out and piece things together here and create the story that's happening with this specific product, because we obviously want all of our products to perform 100% or 10,000%, but it's not always the case. And so there's the analytics side, and then there's also, we talk more about this in our Profit by Design Academy and our other courses and mentor like coaching, is we figure out what that story is and how we can fix it. And is it
or you take advantage
of it. And so, but you really have to understand that these things are happening in your back end. And what a lot of our students, and then also ourselves, myself and my mother, we realized at the beginning of when we started out on Zazzle is that this is super important, because if you are focused with your blinders on creating products and designing, and you think everything is all good, and you're spending so much work and hours putting into designing and creating products, and you're not seeing the results, then it's very disheartening. And then also you are ignorant to the fact that maybe it's just something that you need to tweak in your back end, and then something will change for you. Because I personally have created hundreds and hundreds of designs and then realized that I had tagged them wrong, or I had put them in a wrong category, or something just wonky happened to them, and I was like losing money. I was deliberately making my products not sell, if you can think of it that way. So you always want to keep track on at least your popular products, or products that you have like this gut feeling that you're like, this is going to be a big seller, because some things are like complete design flaws and issues, right? Where you have a product and it's just not going to sell because it just doesn't look good, or there's something wrong with the template or something like that. But if there is something that is, if you have a product that is really great and you personally as an artist, you would buy it in a heartbeat, and you're seeing like either views or not sales, or sales and like sporadic sales, then you have to look at that and create that story and look at that like the bigger picture, like a bird's eye view type of thing.
Yeah, and maybe there's someone who would like to offer up one of their designs and tell us about it, because there's also the two things, right? Remember I said figure out what's not working, and like Jen already mentioned, there could be something that is just easily wrong with it, right? Like maybe you by accident made the template up properly or improperly, or you maybe not even made up the template, so the customer's confused on how they can change out their name for whatever you've got as sample text. Those are the obvious things. So that's where you would look first, right? And then secondly, you would say, okay, well, yeah, it's always a personal opinion as to whether or not your design is really good.
Yeah. I mean,
but ultimately, if you say, okay, like it's a dog, and I've like dog themed, and dogs get searched in Google like 1 billion times a day, so you've got like a lot of sort of background research behind it to say, yeah, this is definitely a theme and a niche that's popular, so my designs fit in there. And then, you know, it could be something really cool that's you can offer to the world that no one has seen before. And so that's cool. But then you go one step further and you go, okay, well, I am delivering on what the market wants right now in this niche. I have my templates properly set up. They work well, but I don't have any views. So if you don't have any views and it's been going on for about 2 to 3, 4 months, then you have to ask, when did I post this? Is this a time when it should have had views? Or was it that you made a Christmas product in May that maybe not even people who are keen on buying in July saw in time? So that's very much important as well in terms of when you post something, right? As to whether or not you're going to get views, because otherwise the product just gets lost in the billions of products that are on Zazzle, because no one's found it, right? And it's not really something that people want to buy right now at the time that you posted it. So it's not doing that journey through the marketplace to get up into the rankings. Then the next thing is if all of those other things are good, design's good, templates are good, you posted at the right time, but then you realize, well, it's still not getting any views. Then it's titles and tags, right? Because if it's not getting views, it's not getting found. And all those other things fit, and it's not, that's not, you know, there's still no result in terms of views and or sales. So then if you've already been with us and had any of our free trainings, then you know how important titles and tags are. And it's the game changer, right? If you just switch out your titles and tags, you may be very, it may just like see night and day results, nothing to really amazing results, who knows? So that's up to you to make sure you do that properly. Again, we do have that training, but it's beyond what we want to talk about here. But then, so now we keep moving down the list. What else can we do now besides the titles and tags? Let's say at this point, I think that would be it for getting views, except have you promoted it? So if you haven't promoted it, like posted on Pinterest or pinned it to Pinterest or posted on Instagram or somewhere else, put it on your blog or on your website, then that's another option that you might have that you haven't explored yet. If everything else ticks off and says yes, yes, yes. All right.
Yeah, and a promotion isn't necessary on Zazzle. We started out on Zazzle designing and creating products and making sales without doing any external promotion, and we sold because Zazzle is very adamant, obviously making the sales because that's how they make money, right?
Yeah, we're all on the same team.
Yeah, we're on the same team. It's awesome because Zazzle is actually promoting your products because that's how they make money. For other platforms like Etsy or Shopify, they're not promoting for you. They're not creating the external traffic for you because they don't really care. You're selling your designs and there's subscription-based things, right? With Etsy, you're paying a fee to have your products on there, and you don't actually they don't get a commission. And with Zazzle, you are helping Zazzle create sales for themselves, and Zazzle's helping you, so it's equal. Yeah. And so when you start out on Zazzle, if you're worried about if you're worried about promotion, you don't have to do that. But it's another thing that you can do to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to help increase my views or increase my sales as well.
Yes. So Jude asked about how do we play around with titles and tags to get it right. Unfortunately, that's not what the training is today, so I'm not going to go there, but thanks for asking that question.
But also, Jude, you're part of the Profit by Design Academy, and we've got all that training in the course. So, and if you also have any specific questions, you can always ask in the private Facebook group for that course, and we'll help you out. But yeah, we're going to be talking about analysis here.
Yeah, because this is so important. And so Angel asked, she said something about 20 that she sold blue daisy masks. She sold 20 at the beginning of things and has 90 views and has not sold any in 4 weeks. Okay, so this is the next part of the whole thing. You have to be a responsible creative entrepreneur, right? So you're going to do these views and assessments on the products that are selling for you more often. And so and you're going to put that information down somewhere, wherever works for you, so you can remember. But views are always the total views. So Now, looking at this 4 weeks later, we don't know if those 90 views are all from the time when you made the 20 sales, or if there's been views since then.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, like every calendar month, let's say the beginning or the end of the month, you say, I'm going to document my top 20, 25 products, whatever you want to do, and you're going to just check them out and see how are they doing, what kind of sales, what's the numbers, what's the views, and you're going to log that somehow. And then you're going to come back the next month and you're going to say, oh, this is the new numbers. How does it compare to the old numbers? Then you can figure out, okay, so because then Angel's story could go two ways, right? If the 90 views happened as soon as she sold the 20, and there's 0 views since then and 0 sales since then she could say, oh, must be somewhere that someone is not promoting it anymore, so maybe I could promote it somewhere, right? So Angel could promote it somewhere and boost that sales because she has the proof that it's already sold. And if nothing else, everything else works, right? Because someone found it, titles, tags, whatever, and the design, everybody likes it. There was all this proof of sales that the only thing missing now is getting it in front of the eyeballs of the customers to make more sales. And so then you have a choice. Now, if you had 20 sales with 20 views, and now you have 70 views and no sales, that would be a different story. A little bit harder to explain because that would be like weird because first you got views and you've made sales right away, and now you have extra views and they don't like it anymore. But it also could be explained because then maybe someone else with another Daisy or whatever it is that you said,
Yeah.
Daisy, maybe someone else has a better design than you, and it's now overtaking your design that you initially sold. Again, very, very important, because that means then that you need to check out what competitors are doing and bring something else to the table. Maybe your design was just your blue daisy and the other design has somebody's name on it as a way for the customer to add their name. If that's the case, then your action would be make another mask with the same design and a name, right? So this is why analysis is so important. You wouldn't know that unless you were checking that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Jude says he also has masks that are selling, but lately it didn't have the same sales. I thought maybe Zazzle changed the indexing. Okay, so specifically, and this is the thing. Okay, when something happens that's different, yes, it could be an option that Zazzle's doing something, but more than likely it's customer behavior. And so don't always go to Zazzle as a way to show that it's no longer, working the way it used to be. So it's a really good point that you bring up, Jude. But I think it's more that it's customer behavior, and also possibly what Angel said. Like, now you said they're selling, but we don't know your views. So if you have views and they're not selling, then maybe it's the same as what I said with Angel, that there's a competing product that's doing better and serves the customer better. But if it has to do with you still getting the views but no sales, then that's a different issue. Like, we need both of those things together in order to make a logical, predictable answer that's most probable. And then at that point, you would be able to do something about it, right? But more than likely, it has nothing to do with Zazzle, unless what it is in this case, if it's the old masks, the one with the pleats, excuse me, there may be some issue with them not promoting them as much, because they're also, at one point they were out of stock and all that stuff. So do always remember that there's certain things that happens as well, like things like out of stock, Zazzle not promoting as much of that style rather than another style. But even then, if you have those 4 masks, Jude, for example, and they're all on the pleated old version and they've stopped selling, and if you did the analysis, you'd go, okay, why are they not selling anymore? And you would know, because you're doing your research and you're constantly being an effective creative entrepreneur, and you would know, oh, Zazzle has said that these take too long, and in order for customers to feel like they've got a good customer service experience, that they were not going to offer those for sale anymore. But that doesn't stop you, right? That means that you then take those designs, because you know that they've been proven to sell, and you put them on the masks that Zazzle is selling. But unless you analyze this at least monthly, you wouldn't know that you could do that, or that you should do that. Yeah, okay, awesome. Everyone's saying thanks and all that stuff. What is oh, you're answering border collies.
Yeah, on YouTube we had some questions, so I'm making sure that I answer them as well. But border collie gifts, I think everybody would be interested in hearing this. So there has been some people who have asked us, and it says that I've read that you need to have 1,000 products on Zazzle for you to start to get noticed, or that your products will start selling.
Yeah.
I don't know where you found that, but actually a couple of people have said that to us in the past, and it's not true. It might obviously have some sort of influence with SEO, but it's also the fact that you have now 1,000 products doesn't mean anything. And they said that they see no difference between 900 or 300 products. Your products, the quality of your products counts, the design quality. You can't be expecting to sell products when your design, no offense, there are some people who will create designs and they're not good, and I don't think that anybody would maybe buy them, or there are design flaws, like some of the design is cropped and it doesn't fit on the whole product. It goes over the edges of the bleed lines. Your templates are not created properly. You have to make sure that you have your text boxes out to the edges, and just the green lines, not the red lines. Then there are aspects that have to do with SEO and titles and tags, getting your products found, as well as seasonal products, as well as products that people would be buying during this specific time. Market buying habits. Right now, a lot of people, for example, we saw a huge influx of masks because of coronavirus, and a huge decrease of event and weddings and all of those things.
Logical.
Just because of the market trends. There are people who sell products when they have 10 products in their store. I'm not too sure what you mean by getting noticed, but that might be something to do with the fact that you think that in the Zazzle marketplace you won't be seen. But as soon as you create a new product on Zazzle, it goes into the new section of products created on the Zazzle.
You can sort for new.
You can sort for new.
Yeah, as well as popular.
And so if you are thinking that you have to create that many products to get found or to actually sell anything, that's not true. We've had students who have created products and they have very little amount of products in their stores and they're making sales. But it just depends on if you are acting and designing like a business owner, because if you're designing products that are flawed or that no one would buy because of an issue, then that's one thing. If you're creating products and not titling and tagging them properly and they're just not getting seen, that's another issue.
And the other thing is if you don't actually provide something that people would like, like a service, right? Not that they like your particular design. It's not an emotional thing, and it's not a thing to do with dissing you or something like that. It's more that does it serve the purpose that they're going to open their wallets for?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the whole thing. But also, I think this thing about this being seen or like that to get noticed. What does that mean? I mean, noticed doesn't, like, who noticed? Because if you start using word, you have to be very specific as a creative entrepreneur, as a business owner. You have to say views, and then like even views. You can have 100 views or even 10 views and make sales. If you have thousands of views, then we have, but no sales. There has to be, so again, a story.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because you have your product on a landing page, and so that as already counts as a view, even if people don't click through onto your product as a view. But if you, get noticed, like Zazzle combs the new feed all the time. And a lot of our students, now that they've learned how to design properly and put the titles and tags on properly and so on, they have been picked up as the, from the marketing team and been added to the homepage. We have, that happens almost daily. And when we were starting out, and even when we were selling like 6 figures, we never were on the homepage. But we're teaching people how to do that now, because that's very significant, and that's getting you noticed for sure. And that doesn't mean that you have to have 1,000 products. It just means you have to post something that people want to buy and that the Zazzle marketing team thinks is worth showcasing, because they also have a reputation to keep up, right?
And this ties in with analysis as well, because you look at your designs that you've created in the past, and if they're working for you, and you can then now use that data to design new things in the future, and use past analysis for, say, this specific time during the year to create things for next year during this time, right?
Yeah, analysis is so deep, because we just talked a little bit about what's happening right now, but Jen just made a really good point that then after a while, you're going to start getting really good at this, and you'll remember, oh, this sold really well, this theme or this niche or seasonality product sold really well around this time, but I did this, this, and this in order to get that one to work, and not something else that I did that was in the same, had the same target. And so then you would know for the next season to what to create, or even what to add to and revive for the upcoming time that this would probably sell again. That's the one that sold last year.
Yeah. So we want to watch the time. If there's any other last minute questions, and we'd love to answer them. We also want to speak to you about our 3-day event, which we're holding on July 8th, 9th, and 10th. A lot of these ladies, and I think actually men too, have signed up, who are on live with us now. But if you haven't heard of the Creative Entrepreneur Online, we're going to be showing our screen in a second to give you some idea, give you an idea of what we're holding, and we want to invite you to join us.
And if you liked any of these sessions that we've done and the topics that we're discussing, if you want to go into more detail and actually start doing some work in this area, like doing some of this analysis and literally being like having your screen show, so that we can do a hot seat coaching, so you can really understand how this works, not just me talking about it right now. That's the kind of thing that we're going to be doing on day 3, because each day will be one day that we're going to tackle perceivable, the second is passive, and the third day is profitable, so we're going to talk about analysis in much more detail when it comes to that day. So this is the webpage where you can go. It's elkeclarke.com/creative-entrepreneur-online. Jen's going to post it in the chat, and it explains whatever it is that you're going to need in order to understand what it's all about. Basically, we're going to be on live July 8th, 9th, and 10th, just kind of like what we're doing here, but we're going to do it in the Zoom format. That way we can do a lot more in terms of teaching. And it will be streamed to a Facebook group that we are going to set up just for this event. The Facebook group will be open for a month for the ticket price. If you want to have the extended version of that and keep in the Facebook group and allow for you to constantly see all the replays over and over again, there's a small cost for that. But we are going to be similar in Zoom format, like this little video here, where we are going to be able to talk to you and ask questions. There's going to be work sessions. There's going to be Q&A panels. There's going to be hot seat coaching. There's going to be teaching. And by the time you're done, you're going to set your goals, understand what kind of product suite you're going to need in order to set that goal on a high level, right? And also how to manage your business by being really good at doing the analysis, so that you can get to the bottom of this, because you want to know which ones are working for you and which ones aren't. And a lot of it's like a lot of this is there's some work, but not like we're not doing this for every single person. There's independent work, and we're going to work on it together. So just so you know, but if you want like really high level coaching to go deeper and deeper, and each person gets our eyeballs on your view, like we look at each of your things in the back end and stuff, that's the Creative CEO Mastermind, which is actually coming up in August. But for this is like a mini mastermind. So we're going to talk about the same topics in a sense, because that's what's important in running your business. But we're going to do it in a group setting where we're going to prompt you to do the work and answer your questions where you get stuck. But we're not going as deep into it as we would in a mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we start at basically noon, noon every day, Eastern Standard Time, and we go until 5:30 p.m., which is, and there's breaks in between, there's breaks in the sessions, there's a lunch break or mid break, depending on what time zone you're in, somewhere in the world, and it's for 3 days, and you'll be on with Zoom, and you're going to obviously be on live with us. You're going to get a workbook, and you're going to be in a Facebook group for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions or things that I have to cover?
I don't think so, but it's what else do I want? It's how to manage your business, and we have said in the description, it's to learn the perceivable, passive, and profitable framework that we use and we've used to build our Zazzle businesses, and we also consistently use even today. And it is a really interactive session. It's open to all of everybody, not just our students. So if you are a student, then we would welcome you to join. And if you're not a student, you're also welcome to join. And it doesn't matter at what level you are at in your Zazzle business. You can be a complete beginner, or you can be a Zazzle, like a designer that has been on Zazzle for years. It is designed to be an interactive experience to help you at whatever level you are at. And it doesn't mean that because you're maybe more advanced that you should not attend if you're interested because you don't think that you're going to get value. You're going to get so much value, and it's going to be more of the business management side of things rather than Zazzle designing's titles and tags, all of those things that we always cover, especially in our free trainings here on Facebook and on YouTube.
And our Profit by Design Academy.
Yeah, and our Profit by Design Academy.
Yeah, because Jude says he's 100% focused on the PDA, which is awesome.
Well, he wanted to come, but he says it's not in his budget. So I said to him he should focus on the PDA. Yeah. But if you are a Profit by Design Academy member, or even a mastermind member of ours, this event is also applicable to you, because we'll be covering things that are a bit different than what we've covered in any of our other places. And it's more catered to working with you as a group setting, and then also being very interactive and getting you to actually do exercises with us online and do the work. Yeah, and do the work that you can implement into your Zazzle business. And we worked really hard on creating a workbook for you to have a better understanding and to ask you questions that you might not be asking yourself, to make you realize how you use your habits and how your habits affect you managing your Zazzle business, how your mindset affects your Zazzle business, how your goal setting and what you think that you're capable of affects your Zazzle business, then all of the things to do with your product suite and how you need to do analysis, which we just spoke about here. But it's more so as a whole, looking at the big picture, like what we kind of chatted about today, because it's not about titles and tags. That event is not going to be covering anything to do with, just solely on that thing. It's about everything as a whole, and looking at your Zazzle business as the bigger picture, and realizing that you're actually capable of managing your business as a business rather than just as a hobby. And some of our students in the Profit by Design Academy, or even the Profitable membership, even though you're at a higher level, this is still a great opportunity for you to take advantage of, because it'll help you get a better understanding of how to actually implement the work and implement the course material that you are doing right now. And if you're not a course member, then that doesn't matter. The stuff that we're going to be covering in these next 3 days is all doable, and it's
just with whatever we're training.
Yeah. So it's for everybody to join, and I think that it's going to be a really great experience for people, because it's definitely interactive. We're going to be on Zoom, and as I said, we're going to be doing like little mini breakout sessions where you're going to be doing the work, and you're going to be able to implement the work that you learned in that session in your Zazzle business that afternoon or that evening or the next day. And yeah, we're really excited to have you join us. We know that a lot of people who are on live with us are going to be joining us, and it's going to be an experience where you're going to feel in a safe space, like you're in a safe space with people, and actually be open to understanding that there are other people like you too that are having the same struggles, that are having the same issues, that are having the same successes, you know. And I think one thing that we really want to get across to you too is that we're in the same position as you are, or we have been in the past. We have gone through all of the feelings that you're feeling, whether it be, you know, the struggles of, am I good enough? Or is this design good enough? Will it sell? I'm not making sales. My views aren't happening. We've had those feelings. And the reason why we are where we are today and giving you the advice is because we looked at the bigger picture. We learned how to manage our business properly, and we figured it out. And it took a lot of hard work, and you've worked really hard at creating all of the modules and the pillars and the Profit by Design Academy and all of our trainings. But here is where we want you to actually recognize that we understand what you're going through, and we know,
and we have solutions.
And we know, yeah, the path that you want to take. We want every single one of you to achieve your dream goal, and we want you to get there. But the one way that you have to get there and do that is to treat your Zazzle business as a business and put in the work and work smart and actually take the actions.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. That you've just said it so well. I think we can finish with that. But if you're ready to join us, that would be awesome. And we only have 2 more days until we're actually going live and starting this whole event, which I can't wait for. It's awesome. And yeah, and I love the fact that this is, even if there's certain pieces that we're going to touch on that were in our training or in our even our masterminds, the things that are going to come together in this week, 3 days, not week, 3-day session, is that it's going to be the overall management and really getting you in the headspace of creating that vision for you that you need to do this as a business. And what does that mean for you? And how do you start doing it that way? And that's going to be exciting.
Okay, well, have a wonderful afternoon, evening, or day, depending on where you are, or a replay. If you're watching the replay, write the word replay in the comment section and say one thing that was your biggest takeaway from this discussion, because a lot of you watch the replay and you just say replay.
24 people on and 4 people commented. Thank you, Angel and Jude and Kate, and who else is on?
We have some people on YouTube. It's half and half, which is really great. But
and, who's that lady with the pets, the
Border Collie gifts.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and so we love interacting with you. We love having you on with us, and we're looking forward to our 3-day live event. It is on July 8th, 9th, and 10th. And if you're not actually able to join us live, then you can purchase a ticket and you will have access to all the replays. And there is a Google form where you're able to ask questions before and after the sessions. So if you're watching them at a different time zone, you can ask questions and we will answer those live for you, and you'll be able to watch them in the videos afterwards.
Exactly.
So have a wonderful day, and we will see you at the Creative Entrepreneur Online. Bye.